Hi, welcome to Low Carb Spin. I'm Karen.
And I'm Therese. Today we are baking up a nostalgic treat, Scotcharoos.
They're chewy, peanut buttery, topped with chocolate goodness. What else could one want?
They're guaranteed to satisfy your sweet tooth.
Absolutely. Perfect for the holidays, all while staying low carb.
I'm liking that.
I'm so glad that we found this marshmallow recipe because it's certainly gonna make the difference with our Scotcharoos. You could use store-bought marshmallows for this recipe, but when we saw that Keto Upgrade, Alycia, she came up with these marshmallows, we're like, we have to give our recipe a try and see if it will work. Every year at Christmas, our Aunt Shirley would make this every Christmas. It was never
any left in the pan.
Oh, never. It's a nostalgic recipe from the 1960s, but we just made it low carb for us.
So this is super simple. You're going to add water and allulose to your saucepan to get started with our marshmallows. Give it a little stir. So we're going to take our saucepan and we're just going to do a medium heat, and it's going to take a while. And what temperature do we need to bring this to?
We're going to use an instant read thermometer and we're going to bring it up to 320 degrees. The last time I made them, I want to say it took at least 10 minutes.
So be patient. Just give it a little stir occasionally. While that's coming to a boil, we're going to start on our gelatin. So to our mixer bowl, we're going to add some water just to the bottom. I'm just going to sprinkle the gelatin over the top. Don't even have to mix it.
Yeah, just going to let it sit.
Let's check our temperature.
Looks like we still have a ways to go, but the water is evaporating out of the allulose nicely. So while we're waiting for the final boil, we did prepare our pan. So it's just an 8 by 8 inch silicone pan, and that will work best. We did it with coconut oil. So use coconut oil or butter.
But not the spray.
Not the spray, that's not going to work well. Well, it's getting just about there, and you could see how it's coating the spoon and it's kind of beating up. Let's take the read with the thermometer. Alycia says to move it around because she said allulose heats in different spots within the pan. Looks like we're there. So we're going to stir up that coagulated gelatin. Make sure it gets off the bottom. It's off the bottom.
Like a frisbee.
Start that on low. And then you're going to pour it down the sides of the bowl, not necessarily on the mixer blade. And the heat and the steam is going to melt that gelatin. Just keep pouring. Go quickly. Let's put in our salt, and then we'll sprinkle that in, and then we're going to add a teaspoon of the vanilla, and we're going to continue to whip that marshmallow and try to save it. I think our marshmallow got a little brown. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can get this in here. This is where you want to work kind of quickly. It's very satiny and it's going to be very sticky.
Yum.
We probably should have greased the spatula at this point. I think we let our caramel go a little bit higher than the 320, and that's why it's a little bit darker. It doesn't taste burnt.
But it could have been if we would have let it go any longer.
I think a second longer, we would have been in trouble. Well, it is a sticky mess, but still tastes like marshmallow.
Yum.
So now the last step with the marshmallow making, now that I'm all cleaned up, you're going to add some of your confectioner, your powdered swerve, and you're going to sprinkle it over the top. And we're just going to leave them to set maybe 4 to 6 hours. Overnight's best. When we're using these in the Scotcharoo recipe, we're going to melt them down anyway, so we're not really concerned with them being too stiff. This is a lot of marshmallow, and we're only going to be using a part of it.
Save them for s'mores.
There you go.
So now for the Scotcharoo-y part, I'm going to take some butter and we're going to melt that in a pan. Whoops.
And it's going to come together fairly easily because this is no bake. So our marshmallows came out. You're going to want to grease your knife with some avocado oil spray.
Definitely.
You're also going to grease the plate. They're going to be melted in with the butter that Teresa's melting, so it's not about making perfect marshmallows. It's just going to be getting them,
It's adding the goo.
adding to the goo and
stretchiness of
bite-sized pieces.
Yes.
Because these are really sticky. You can always just dust them with more confectioner sugar. We didn't have these dry out long enough, so, but we knew we were melting them. So let's see.
So after our butter is melted, we're adding, that's directly into the marshmallows are the
Look at
next to
that.
go. Ooh, yum.
It's a little sticky, but let's measure these out.
There's some more ready.
Yes, they yes, they are. And I think we can add some peanut butter into that pan too, because that's going to melt along with the marshmallows.
Do that right now then while you're cutting.
I think so. I'll try to be fast.
A little bit more butter to be melted here. And we got a peanut butter that you can see. It's not super runny. It's a little bit in between. And I think that's the aim. You don't want it too runny.
I know. I mean, there's no sugar in this peanut butter. It's
Yes.
just roasted nuts.
Nuts and salt, a little salt.
Okay.
Woo! Give that a little stir.
We're only going to be using half of these anyway.
No, I just have this on like 3, like a lower heat. That about right?
I think so. Let's see once we get the marshmallows in. I think it's probably exactly about, you know what, enough for a taste test, but it's exactly almost half of the recipe, that 8x8 pan, the marshmallows that we made. So good thing I have some oil on my fingers here.
Chunk them
You
in.
might have to,
Give them a little push.
yeah, little help.
There we go. Perfect.
Okay, and let those melt up. And I think I'm going to change the camera angle so that we can get a shot of that pot. So now we're going to add about 4 drops of our cinnamon oil. Actually, I'm sorry, it's butterscotch oil. What am I thinking?
Christmas.
And let's put in some of the sweetener. And I'm thinking we can turn that off the heat. So into the bowl we're going to put some crushed pork rinds. And we broke them up into bite-sized pieces so they would resemble Rice Krispies. And now we're going to put our Scotcharoo mixture and we're going to blend it all up.
The fun part.
Well, everything looks really nicely coated. So now we're ready to put it in our prepared pan.
Thought I'd try a glove this time. Kind of press it in.
Now that they're all pressed together, that looks very nice. We mixed 2 different kinds of chocolate. We're using some dark chocolate and some salted caramel. I ran out of milk chocolate, and Therese wanted milk chocolate and the salted caramel. She likes that combination
It's a little
better.
sweeter.
And I only had the dark, so into the microwave.
Still good.
About a minute increments maybe, and we'll stir it, and then we're going to spread it on top.
I think it's nice and smooth. All ready for the top.
Yummy. That's the chocolate goodness we were talking about.
Get her in the corners there.
Makes for easy spreading.
Okay. Should I dump it all, or you want to spread first?
Let's spread and see where we're gonna need it. It's a little bumpy on the bumpy side.
The chocolate fills in all the crevices.
Is that it? Chocolate hides.
Smells good.
Ready for the fridge. So these are set, and the reason why we put the parchment paper in the pan is so that we could
Easily lifted.
lift it, and then you pull down the parchment paper. And we're gonna cut these. Should I cut in half or just go down the line?
Either way.
Either way, let's see. You know what I would like normally?
Let it warm up a little more before you take
Maybe.
it out, before you cut it.
Warming it up a little bit might help. But sometimes what actually helps is sometimes I have it on a board that's raised, so then you're...
Or maybe you could heat your knife.
Could do that.
I know somebody told me put the knives in hot water when they cut the cake, and they just wipe it for a second, and it slices so much easier. Those are the end pieces. Maybe do one more row.
Okay.
The end pieces on this pan is curved instead of square, so you get little
You get the cheat.
curvatures.
You get the little cheat.
These are probably still a little too cold to be cutting. But she's got brute arms here. She works out.
I don't know about that. Okay.
Yum. There you go.
We're gonna have to get a fancy plate to plate these up. Our favorite part, the taste test.
Exactly. Well, I think these would look delicious. I mean, I have no problem bringing these to my holiday party.
Well, you know what? I think that to make these even better, when we tailor out the recipe, I would crush the pork rinds a little bit smaller, because when you went to cut into them, they were a little bit bigger. So I think crushing them would make these perfect.
But you don't want the panko crumbs.
Yeah,
That's
not
too
crumbs.
fine. Just make sure you don't have too big of pieces. So, you know,
Because they might break.
we
apart.
crushed, but we weren't really paying that much of attention, you know, trying to do things kind of fast today. So, but I think they turned out pretty good. They're actually a chewier version of the ones I have made before. And that's, my brother loves these, and I brought them a couple years ago, and he was like, tastes perfect. He's like, but I'm missing a little bit of that give, that pull, like in a Rice Krispie treat. So I said, oh, we'll work on it.
That's what the marshmallows did.
Exactly.
Well, I'm digging in, so.
Sounds good. Yum,
Ready?
yum, yum.
Mm-hmm. Cheers.
Gooey. Chocolatey.
Chocolatey goodness. You need some chocolate for us to start this?
She's making scotcharoos. I'm taking a nap.
Karen's baking scotcharoos because Teresa's going to take a nap because she is over this video time today.
Yeah.
You came back from your vacation and you just not really ready to
I want
work
to do
yet.
nothing. Because I sound drunk.
Lay off the heavy sauce, Teresa. You won't be sounding drunk.